The coffee date that ended in death, Jessica Wongso's case. This story takes us to Jakarta, Indonesia, where the lives of two young women, Myrna Salihin and Jessica Wongso, took a dark and unexpected turn. What began as a close friendship ended in a shocking tragedy that captured the attention of an entire nation. Join us as we dive into this unsettling tale of jealousy, privilege, and betrayal, exploring the events that led to Myrna's heartbreaking death and the trial that followed. If you enjoy intriguing Reddit stories like this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more gripping tales. Your support helps us keep sharing these incredible stories. Jessica Wongso was born in 1988 in Jakarta, Indonesia, into a family of immense wealth and privilege. She was the youngest of three children born to Imelda and Winardi Wongso, owners of a major company specializing in plastic imports. The family's business success positioned them as one of the largest plastic distributors in Indonesia, earning her father the moniker, the Plastic King. Growing up in an environment of opulence, Jessica was accustomed to a life of indulgence and luxury. In a country where the average income hovered around $4 a day, Jessica's life stood in stark contrast to that of the majority, placing her in the upper echelons of Indonesian society. Her childhood was one of abundant privilege. Jessica was showered with everything she desired, and her parents spared no expense in catering to her whims. In 2005, her parents decided to expand their horizons and relocated to Sydney, Australia, which was a significant market for their flourishing business. They purchased a lavish home in Double Bay, an elite harborside suburb known for its exclusivity and multi-million-dollar properties. Her father didn't settle for a single plot, but acquired two adjacent parcels of land to ensure the family had ample space for their luxurious lifestyle. Despite her family's relocation to Australia, Jessica remained in Jakarta to complete her high school education. During this period, her family ensured that she was well cared for, employing a team of staff and household servants to attend to her needs. This period of semi-independence allowed Jessica to focus on her passions, which included video gaming and painting. From a young age, her artistic talents were evident. She could spend hours engrossed in creating intricate drawings, a skill that would later influence her career aspirations. After graduating high school in 2007, Jessica joined her family in Sydney and enrolled at the Billy Blue College of Design to pursue her dream of becoming a graphic designer. Although her siblings also resided in Australia, their paths rarely crossed as they led independent lives. Jessica, on the other hand, quickly adapted to her new environment and made numerous friends during her university years. Her peers often described her as an outgoing, cheerful individual who had a knack for lightening the mood with her quirky sense of humor and infectious energy. During her time at the university, Jessica crossed paths with Myrna Salihin, another Indonesian student who shared a similar background of affluence. Like Jessica, Myrna hailed from a prominent Jakarta family. Her father, Eddie Salihin, was a successful entrepreneur, ensuring Myrna and her twin sister Sandy a privileged upbringing. Despite their shared elite status, the two young women bonded over their mutual experiences as expatriates and quickly became close friends. Myrna's life was also shaped by her long-term relationship with Arif, her boyfriend who was studying in Melbourne while Myrna was based in Sydney. Their love story, coupled with Myrna's vibrant personality, added to the dynamic of her friendship with Jessica. The two young women often spent time exploring Sydney, indulging in the freedom and opportunities their wealth afforded them, and sharing stories of their lives back in Jakarta. For Jessica, this phase of life was marked by exploration and connection. However, beneath the surface of her vibrant social life and academic pursuits, there was a complex individual navigating a world of expectations, privilege, and personal ambitions. As her friendship with Myrna deepened, their intertwined paths would later lead to events that would capture public attention in ways neither could have foreseen. Myrna and Jessica formed a quick and close friendship during their university years in Sydney. Both women shared a privileged upbringing, a passion for design, and independent, modern personalities that set them apart. Despite their similarities, they had contrasting traits that made their bond unique. Jessica was vivacious and outgoing, always eager to be the center of attention at social gatherings. Myrna, on the other hand, was more reserved, embracing a modest and understated lifestyle. These differences complemented their friendship, balancing Jessica's exuberance with Myrna's calm demeanor. Unlike Jessica, who thrived on the energy of parties and social events, Myrna preferred quiet moments and simplicity. Another distinction lay in their family dynamics. Myrna's family was warm and close-knit, emphasizing togetherness and affection, whereas Jessica's upbringing, while privileged, seemed less centered on familial closeness. During their university years, the two women often spent time with Honey and Vera, two other classmates from wealthy Jakarta families. The four friends, all international students, created lasting memories exploring Sydney and supporting each other in their studies and social lives. As their time at university flew by, graduation marked a turning point for both women. Myrna returned to Jakarta with her long-term boyfriend, Arif, to start a new chapter of her life, while Jessica chose to stay in Sydney with her family. Although they were now separated by distance, their bond remained strong. Myrna's return to Jakarta was a happy one, filled with plans for the future. She and Arif became engaged and began preparing for their dream wedding, a milestone that brought joy and excitement into her life. Jessica, however, faced a more challenging post-graduation journey. She began working in New South Wales and entered a relationship with a man named Patrick. While Jessica's life seemed stable on the surface, her relationship with Patrick was fraught with difficulties. She confided in friends about the turbulent nature of their connection, revealing that Patrick allegedly used prohibited substances and displayed violent tendencies. These issues deeply affected Jessica, leaving her anxious and fearful, a far cry from the cheerful and spirited person she had once been. By June 2015, Myrna decided to visit Sydney for a holiday, eager to reconnect with old friends and revisit the city she had once called home. Among those she planned to meet was Jessica, who was struggling with personal challenges. The two women arranged to have dinner together, marking their first meeting in 4 years. While Myrna's life was flourishing, filled with the excitement of her engagement and wedding preparations, Jessica's life appeared to be unraveling under the strain of her toxic relationship and deteriorating mental health. During their dinner, Jessica opened up to Myrna about the difficulties she was facing. Myrna, known for her honesty and straightforward nature, expressed concern for her friend's well-being. She advised Jessica to break away from Patrick, emphasizing that his behavior was harmful and that Jessica deserved better. Myrna's words were direct yet filled with genuine care, reflecting her desire to see her friend regain her happiness and independence. Jessica, however, seemed trapped in a cycle of fear and emotional turmoil. She described Patrick's behavior in detail, painting a picture of a man whose actions had a corrosive effect on her mental and emotional health. Myrna's concern deepened as she listened, realizing just how far Jessica had fallen from the lively, optimistic person she had once known. Jessica's struggles weighed heavily on Myrna, who wished she could do more to help her friend find a way out of her troubled circumstances. This reunion highlighted the stark contrast between their lives. Myrna was thriving, surrounded by love and stability, while Jessica was sinking deeper into a world of negativity and despair. Yet, despite the differences in their paths, the bond they had formed during their university years remained a source of connection and support. Myrna's advice and encouragement were a testament to the strength of their friendship, even in the face of the challenges life had thrown their way. Myrna could never have anticipated the reaction her advice would elicit from Jessica. As Myrna expressed her concern and urged Jessica to leave her toxic relationship, Jessica's demeanor shifted abruptly. She grew silent, refusing to respond or engage with anything Myrna said. When Myrna finished speaking, Jessica stood up without a word, left the dining table, and walked out of the restaurant, leaving Myrna sitting there alone. It was a jarring end to what was supposed to be a heartfelt reunion, and it taught Myrna a painful lesson. Never offer 5 months later, in November 2015, Myrna experienced one of the happiest moments of her life. She married Arif in a dream wedding on the picturesque island of Bali. The ceremony was a grand affair, attended by close family and friends, but Jessica was conspicuously absent. By this time, the friendship between the two women was effectively over. Myrna, radiant and joyful, seemed to embody everything Jessica had lost: love, stability, and a life filled with hope. Surrounded by loved ones, Myrna's life appeared to be as perfect as a fairy tale. Meanwhile, Jessica's life was unraveling. In August 2015, she was involved in a harrowing incident that highlighted the chaos she was living in. At 2 a.m., while intoxicated, Jessica crashed her Audi A3 into a nursing home, smashing through a brick wall dangerously close to where elderly residents were sleeping. Miraculously, no one was injured, but the accident caused panic and uproar as the residents were awakened by the crash. Jessica suffered only minor injuries, but the damage to her car and the scene she caused painted a stark picture of her spiraling life. This car accident was not an isolated event. Throughout 2015, Jessica's mental health deteriorated alarmingly. On 5 separate occasions, she was hospitalized due to what appeared to be attempts to harm herself. Police and ambulances became regular visitors to her home, responding to crises that left her increasingly isolated and vulnerable. Each time, Patrick would arrive just in time to intervene, but their volatile relationship only added to the turmoil. Jessica's once vibrant personality seemed like a distant memory, replaced by a woman struggling to find any semblance of peace. By November 2015, even Patrick had reached his breaking point. Their relationship, fraught with arguments and instability, had become untenable. Patrick took the drastic step of approaching the police to request a restraining order against Jessica, hoping to end their destructive connection. For Jessica, this was yet another blow in a year filled with personal disasters and public humiliations. The restraining order symbolized the final unraveling of a relationship that had caused her immense pain and contributed to her downward spiral. As Jessica's world crumbled, the contrast between her life and Myrna's could not have been starker. Myrna, surrounded by love and success, seemed to embody everything Jessica lacked. Their lives, once intertwined, were now on starkly different trajectories, reflecting the choice. Jessica appeared eager to make amends, enthusiastically messaging in the group about her plans for their meeting. She promised to treat both Honey and Myrna to drinks, and even took the initiative to handle the reservations. Jessica's tone seemed cheerful and accommodating as she asked the others what they would like to drink. When Myrna mentioned her preference for Vietnamese iced coffee but stated she would order it herself upon arrival, Jessica assured her that everything would be taken care of. The meeting was scheduled for 5 p.m. on Wednesday, January 6, 2016, at a luxurious establishment called Oliver Coffee, located in the Grand Indonesia Shopping Center. On the appointed day, Jessica arrived at the cafe significantly earlier than planned, showing up at 3:30 p.m., a full hour and a half before her friends. While she appeared to be casually browsing the venue, Jessica was meticulously surveying the space, particularly noting the placement of the security cameras. Her choice of table revealed her careful planning. She selected table number 54, a secluded spot against the wall that offered privacy and was partially obscured from view. By 4:15 p.m., Jessica returned to the cafe after stepping out briefly. She carried 3 shopping bags from nearby stores, including one from the body shop. Her calm demeanor and measured actions gave no indication of the sinister intentions she was harboring. Jessica's seemingly mundane activities masked the calculated precision with which she was orchestrating her next move. The stage was set, and the meeting with her old friends would mark the culmination of her carefully constructed plan. Jessica casually mentioned that she had bought 3 bars of soap as gifts for her friends, using the shopping bags to add an air of normalcy. She carefully placed the bags on the table and subtly adjusted them, ensuring they obstructed the view of the cafe's security cameras. Moments later, she approached the bar to place an order: 2 cocktails and 1 Vietnamese iced coffee, paying for the drinks up front. Her actions seemed ordinary, yet every move was calculated. When the server delivered the beverages, Jessica made sure they were all placed behind the shopping bags, further shielding them. When the restaurant manager approached, initially suspecting that Myrna might be having an epileptic seizure, Jessica glared at her with a chilling accusation. "What did you guys put in the coffee?" she demanded coldly, deflecting suspicion and attempting to shift the blame. Her demeanor, devoid of panic or concern, added an unnerving element to an already harrowing situation. The contrast between Jessica's reaction and the unfolding tragedy would later raise many questions, but at that moment, the focus remained on the desperate fight to save Myrna's life. The restaurant manager was taken aback and offended by Jessica's abrupt accusation, wondering why she would claim that the staff had tampered with the drink. Her indignation quickly turned into suspicion. Acting on her instincts, she instructed her team to seal the coffee cup as evidence. Ironically, Jessica's own words may have prevented the most crucial piece of evidence in the case from being discarded. Meanwhile, Honey frantically called Myrna's husband, Arif, to inform him of the horrifying events, describing how Myrna had started seizing and foaming at the mouth. Arif was panic-stricken as he rushed to the hospital, desperately hoping his wife would survive. However, by the time he arrived, the doctors had done all they could, and it was too late. Myrna had passed away at 6:30 p.m. on January 6th, 2016. Arif was shattered by the cruel reality that had unfolded in a matter of hours. Just that afternoon, he had kissed his wife goodbye, filled with dreams of their future together. Now, only 2 months after their wedding, he was left with nothing but heartbreak and questions. The news of Myrna's death spread quickly, leaving her family and friends in disbelief. A healthy young woman, vibrant and full of life, had suddenly passed away under mysterious circumstances. Just weeks earlier, many of those mourning her had celebrated her dream wedding in Bali, wishing her and Arif a lifetime of happiness. Now, instead of joy, they were gathered around her coffin, overwhelmed by grief and confusion. Myrna's sudden death shocked everyone who knew her, and the circumstances surrounding it raised immediate suspicions. At Myrna's funeral, Jessica's behavior drew significant attention. While others were overcome with emotion, Jessica appeared detached, even irritated. She didn't shed a single tear, a stark contrast to the mourning friends and family around her. This strange demeanor did not go unnoticed and fueled speculation. Why had Jessica been so insistent that Myrna drink the coffee? Why had she ordered it 45 minutes before their arrival? And why had she chosen a table perfectly obscured from the view of the cafe's security cameras, with the shopping bags positioned to block any recording of her actions? Adding to the suspicion were Jessica's actions during the chaotic moments following Myrna's collapse. Surveillance footage revealed that, while others were panicking and trying to help, Jessica stood aloof, watching from the background. At one point, she appeared to scratch her thigh and look around indifferently. This unusual reaction stood in stark contrast to the desperate efforts of others to save Myrna's life. Jessica's calmness amidst the chaos raised more questions than answers. Toxicologists later theorized that Jessica's apparent itchiness might have been caused by contact with cyanide, a substance known to cause irritation upon skin contact. This detail added another layer to the unfolding mystery. Investigators, hoping to find traces of the substance, requested Jessica hand over the trousers she had been wearing that day. However, Jessica claimed she had discarded them because they had been soiled when Myrna vomited on her. This explanation did little to dispel the growing suspicion surrounding her. The tragic events of that evening left everyone searching for answers. Myrna's sudden death, Jessica's odd behavior, and the unsettling circumstances surrounding the coffee all pointed to something far more sinister than a mere coincidence. As grief enveloped Myrna's family and friends, the seeds of doubt and suspicion began to grow, marking the start of an investigation that would uncover chilling truths. In truth, Jessica never made any attempt to help Myrna after she collapsed. She stood motionless at a distance, displaying no visible emotion or effort to assist her friend. This detached behavior was hard for many to reconcile with Jessica's background as an educated upper-class woman. Could someone from such a privileged and seemingly refined upbringing truly be capable of such a heinous act? The doubts lingered, but suspicion deepened when the restaurant manager handed over the coffee cup Myrna had sipped from to the police, a decision that would prove critical to the case. Captivated the entire nation of Indonesia, turning into a sensational story followed with bated breath. News outlets reported every development, while social media became a breeding ground for speculation and theories. The courtroom drama that would follow was anticipated like a blockbuster thriller, with Jessica at its center. Her demeanor, captured on security footage and widely circulated, became a focal point of suspicion. While many were convinced of her guilt, others questioned the evidence, wondering if she had been wrongfully implicated. As the investigation continued, one question loomed over the entire case. Why? If Jessica was indeed responsible for Myrna's death, what could have driven her to commit such a heinous crime? Was it jealousy, resentment, or something deeper? The lack of a clear motive only added to the mystery, leaving both investigators and the public grappling with the unanswered questions surrounding this shocking tragedy. Speculation ran wild as people tried to piece together a motive for Jessica's alleged actions. Some believed she harbored unrequited feelings for Myrna and acted out of revenge after learning of her marriage to Arif. Others suggested her anger stemmed from being excluded from the wedding and seeing Myrna grow closer to Honey and Vera. Arif, Myrna's grieving husband, had his own theory. Jessica's resentment might have been fueled by Myrna's blunt advice to break up with her toxic boyfriend. Meanwhile, Myrna's sister Sandy offered another perspective, speculating that Jessica was driven by jealousy, not just of Myrna's wealth, but of her loving husband, close-knit family, and supportive friends. While these theories circulated, the truth behind Jessica's actions remained known only to her. In their pursuit of evidence, Indonesian authorities reached out to their Australian counterparts for access to Jessica's criminal record. However, Australia's strict stance against capital punishment meant the records would only be handed over if Indonesia agreed not to seek the death penalty, even if Jessica were convicted. Indonesian authorities consented, and what they discovered painted a troubling picture of Jessica's past. During her time in Australia, she had been involved in 13 police reports, which included allegations of making threats, driving under the influence, and harassment severe enough for her ex-boyfriend to obtain a restraining order. The revelations of Jessica's troubled history added weight to the growing suspicion surrounding. The defense team emphasized that only a small amount of cyanide had been detected in Myrna's stomach. They argued this could have been naturally produced post-mortem rather than being ingested. They also contended that a definitive cause of death could only be determined through a full autopsy, which had not been performed. Instead, investigators had relied solely on tissue and fluid samples, which the defense claimed were insufficient to conclude that cyanide poisoning had caused Myrna's death. Jessica's lawyers further speculated that Myrna's death might have been caused by an undiagnosed medical condition rather than poisoning. They pointed out that no evidence had been presented to show that Jessica ever possessed cyanide, raising doubts about the prosecution's case. Despite these arguments, public opinion remained firmly against Jessica, fueled by her erratic behavior and the circumstantial evidence. The trial was one of the most widely followed in Indonesia's history, with every detail scrutinized by the media and the public. On October 5, 2016, the long-awaited verdict was delivered. The courtroom was packed with spectators, and millions across the nation followed the proceedings with bated breath. Jessica was found guilty of premeditated murder and sentenced to 20 years in prison. The announcement sparked an eruption of applause and sighs of relief from the courtroom audience, as justice seemed to have been served for Myrna and her grieving family. Jessica's sentence, however, avoided the ultimate punishment. Due to the agreement between Indonesian and Australian authorities, Jessica was spared the death penalty, which in Indonesia is carried out by firing squad. This detail sparked mixed reactions among the public. While some believed justice had been served, others felt that Jessica's punishment was not severe enough, given the gravity of the crime. The case highlighted a stark truth about the lives of Indonesia's ultra-wealthy. To many average Indonesians, Jessica and Myrna had appeared to live lives of privilege and luxury, seemingly untouched by the struggles faced by ordinary people. Yet, the case revealed that even the wealthy grapple with their own darkness, insecurities, and deeply personal conflicts, dismantling the illusion of perfect lives behind wealth and status. In an ironic twist, the case sparked a peculiar trend in Jakarta's cafe culture. Vietnamese iced coffee, the drink associated with Myrna's tragic death, became wildly popular, appearing on menus across the city. While it became a favored beverage for many, it also carried with it a haunting association. For those familiar with the case, each sip was a bitter reminder of the chilling events that had unfolded in the Grand Indonesia Shopping Center on that fateful day. The trial concluded, but the story left a lingering impact on Indonesia's collective consciousness. The case served as a cautionary tale of privilege, envy, and the complexities of human relationships, leaving behind a mix of justice served and unanswered questions. As Jessica began her prison sentence, the country moved on, but the dark shadow of Myrna's death and its implications remained etched in the minds of many. The case of Myrna Salihin and Jessica Wongso is a sobering reminder of how fragile friendships can become when jealousy and unresolved emotions take hold. It shows how hidden resentment and unaddressed personal struggles can escalate into tragedy, leaving lives shattered and questions unanswered. This story highlights the importance of addressing mental health challenges and seeking help before emotions spiral out of control. If you found this story interesting, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more compelling Reddit stories. Your support helps us bring more of these incredible tales to light. Thanks for being part of this journey, and we'll see you next time.